Hey beautiful tribe, how are you? How is everyone else on the globe as well? Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Hannah from Reality Awareness. I am the Life Purpose Queen. Please let me know if you haven't been to my live stream before, or if you're watching on YouTube, remember to like and subscribe. So hey guys, starting to join me live. Okay, just quickly, so many people have been asking me if the replays are still available for the 4-day free mini course to creating the life of your dreams. Yes, it is definitely still available. The link is in the comments in the title of this live stream as well. And I'll pop it in the comments down too. You can definitely still join in, sign up and join in for the 4-day free training. So if you have been inspired by my post recently, or you're like, yes, I need to do that, and you fully resonate with building your own life, like what I'm about to do on live stream now, what I'm about to talk to you guys about, I have just come off a call with a client and I was just like, I can't believe I'm doing this with you as well, because it was like the fourth client in 3 days that I've been working with this with people, and I've like voiced it to about 4 other people on top of that, and I'm just like, I think I need to talk about this publicly. So let's talk about this, right? Let me quickly share this first so I can be totally present with you guys. Hey Kristen, and actually I want to say thank you so much for all the birthday love wishes. I had a beautiful not overwhelming. It wasn't overwhelming. I was just like, I just felt like I was like, I'm receiving this. So much love and appreciation and everything that you guys shared. I'm like, thank you so much. It was so wonderful to hear everything that you guys thought about me and wishing me all the birthday love. It was really quite unexpected, and I'm really grateful about that. So thank you. Okay, let me pop this in to start with. So I'm curious, as always, how you guys are feeling. And this what I'm talking about, like the clairsentience, what is it? The clairsentience that feel others' behaviours and the entities that are attached to people right now. Let me talk about this, right? Because this is really strong. The past few days, definitely. So, and it's something that I've just been seemingly talking about to so many people about, and I'm like, I need to talk about this. So here I am. Did not plan to live stream today, as you can see, no makeup or anything. It's so natural. I'm like, okay, I'm live streaming. All right. So, okay, can I share this as well? Hang on, I'm nearly there. I just want to be present talking about this, because this is really important, because I'm a little bit, even with my last client, I was just like, I feel like I need to do like another global live healing, I don't know if it's a global live healing, but I'm definitely going to do a clearing. I'm definitely going to do a distance healing clearing for you guys live, because I just feel like I've just been talking about it way too much in private with clients, with people who've been private messaging me, with other people, and I'm just like, I think this is something I need to talk about. So I'm just sharing this. Yes, it lets me do it. Sweet. Okay, done. All right, now I'm present with you. Hey, Matthew. All right, I'm going to bring this up so I can see the comments here. Sweet. Okay. All right, so let me begin by the thing that I've been saying over and over and over for like 3 days straight that I feel like I need to talk about. So I've had clients talk to me about, they're like, oh, like they're doing this thing, or, and then they do this clearing and they feel better, right? But it's been like overwhelmingly, like this is like a behavior. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know how like as a psychic, as a healer, as someone who senses energy, someone who's sensitive being, right? You and me, you guys, give me some love hearts if you're like, yep, I'm intuitive, I'm a healer, I'm psychic, I sense energy. Please give me some love hearts in the comments, or give me some love hearts and just like, yep, this is me. So as I'm just going to say, a sensitive person, we know messages, yeah? Claircognizance, we know, yeah? We know thoughts. And yes, you're all here, that's right. Lots of love hearts. Clairvoyance, we see things, yeah? Whether it's dreams, whether it's in physical reality, whether it's colors of light, energy, we see, okay? We hear, yeah? We hear messages, our clairaudience. And the fourth one, our clairsentience, is that we feel, yeah? We feel everything. Now, I notice if I get a craving for something, I'm going to give you the example that happened to me personally yesterday, and then I'm going to share a couple of examples from what my client said, and then I'm going to tell you the response that I had to that as well. So yesterday, obviously, I went and saw the beautiful whales. That was my birthday present from my dad. It was so special to just be able to go locally. I'm like, wow, look where I live, right? And so we went to the whales, and it was all beautiful and everything. And then like towards the end and on the boat ride home, my hair's really annoying me. I probably should have, I just literally have just not really done much this morning. Taking it easy. So yeah, and on the boat ride home, like we sat inside, on the way to the things, we're like right at the front of the boat because we're like, where's the whales? And on the boat ride home, we're like, yeah, I've had enough sun and like wind now. So we went inside, and obviously they had a little bar there, and you could buy chips and hot dogs and drinks and whatever. Anyway, so Adea wanted a hot dog, but when we walked in there, it was weird because I was like, I didn't even smell the salt and vinegar chips, like the Samboy type crisp chips, like salt and vinegar chips. Like for me, that's all I used to eat as a kid, and so they remind me of my childhood. And like I don't really eat them today. I don't really eat that stuff. So when I had, like we walked in there, it was just like this instant craving for salt and vinegar chips, and I'm like, looked at the bar and I was like, oh yeah, there's chips there, and I'm like but it was like instant, right? And I just like wanted to eat these salt and vinegar chips. Now I'm like, okay, and this is really important to note too, like when we're talking about specifically with food, it's any craving, yeah? It's any craving ultimately. Got to talk about food, but it could be anything that you're craving, right? In a sense of, so salt and vinegar chips, like that craving, it's important that if it's, especially when it's not something that you eat all the time or that you do all the time, but it's something that you used to perhaps, it's always looking at what that craving is reminding you of, yeah? So for me, like obviously I heard from my family on my birthday because it was my birthday, and so that connection to home was strong, but also when we walked into the boat, thing, and like where the bar was, those salt and vinegar chips, like there was a family eating salt and vinegar chips, and I was just like, oh, okay, because I sat down, we're waiting for Adea's hot dog, and I was like, oh, maybe that's what it was, because I saw them eating it, and I was like, oh yeah, that's probably what that craving was, right? So I didn't have them. And then like, someone else said to me, they're like, when I got home later on, they're like, oh, like I feel really weird, and I was like acting it, like stuttering and like just all these things, and I was like, I said this person's name, and she's like, oh yeah, actually I think it was him, and it's like when we feel somebody, right, we can be acting out their behaviors, and this has just been really, like this happens all the time, but it's been really in my awareness the past 3 days, and I feel really called to talk about it because as a clairsentient, when we do a behavior, like our intuition is that we are doing that behavior before we even like realize what we're doing. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, we receive intuition and it's not like, oh, we get a thought and it's like, oh yeah, I should do that thing because that's the intuition. It's that we're already doing it. Like, that's a clairsentient. Yeah, you receive your intuition by you already doing the thing. Like, you don't even consciously think about it because you're already doing it, if that makes sense. So as a clairsentient, working with your clairsentient gift and strengthening your feeling, right? It's literally like your clairsentience is like you're doing the intuition, right? Now, this is where the distinguishment comes in. I don't even know if that's a word. Where you're able to distinguish whether it's actually intuition or whether it's a behavior that you're feeling somebody else doing that thing. So for example, the salt and vinegar chips was like instant craving. I like wanted to eat salt and vinegar chips. I haven't had them for ages. And then I was like, oh, I like saw them in the bar. And then we sat down and I saw the family eating them. And I'm like, oh, is that why I wanted to eat them? But it was just weird, right? And it's you. Yeah. You'll recognize this in yourself because you do it. And the other thing is that, you know, a few of my clients have been like, you know what, I'm like, that wasn't you. Like, you know, it was so clear to me. I'm like, that's not you. You're like, you know, these compulsive behaviors and, you know, like if you're overeating and like, you know, then you feel sick and you're like, oh, I don't really do this. Like, what's going on? Like, you know, but you know someone else who overeats and it's like you're feeling them. Like, you know, that sort of thing. It's really, really common. It's really strong. And it's like this thing of, like being able to distinguish that, and sometimes that takes time. My hair's really annoying me, so I just, yeah, that looks better. Still all salty from the boat yesterday. So that's really important. And the part that I wanted to say about that is because, you know, I guess the response that I said to my clients is that, you know, in the early days with my ex, I remember, like he had gone away, you know, with the boys, you know, something to Sydney or something. And like while he was away, like it was like I could, you know, it was a Friday night and I was just at home and all of a sudden I felt like I had like cocaine up my nose. Like it was just like, you know, hey, you know, I used to have drugs, right? I used to take drugs. I used to be a raver. When it goes down the back of your throat, like I was like, oh my God, like it was so strong and it was just fucking weird. And then like he got back, you know, a couple of days later and I'm like, did you get on the rack down there? And he's like, how did you know? And I was like, oh, it was you. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it was so strong. Like, we can feel, you know, and even like the drinking, like I feel like I pick up a drink and I'm like, there's a difference between me actually genuinely wanting, say, a glass of wine or a beer occasionally. Like, I don't really drink all that much, right? But there's a different feeling when I'm drinking or getting an alcoholic beverage that seems out of the norm. I'm like, why am I doing this? You know what I mean? Like, so you can really distinguish whether it's you or whether it's somebody else. Do you know what I mean? That can take practice, yeah? People are like, but how do I fix this and how do I stop this? And I'm like, it takes practice. It takes first an awareness that you're doing that. It takes a conscious understanding and connection and tuning into yourself about who am I feeling? Like asking the questions like, who is this? Who am I feeling? Whose energy am I feeling? You might have just had a conversation with them. There might be no contact and you haven't had contact for ages. And then all of a sudden, like you're just feeling like their energy. And it's kind of like, that's when you can feel them thinking about you or they're talking about you or anything like that. Right? Makes so much sense. Yeah. And so it's really interesting. And this is why I'm always saying to people is the first step, you know, like, you know, clear your energy, clear your energy, clear your energy, clear your energy, clear your energy. Like, you know, I say it all the time, right? If you guys are watching and you don't have my free chakra clearing meditation, please send me a message or comment below and I'll give you the link for it. It's, you know, like it's not the be all and end all of healing, but it is where you start. You have to have an awareness of your own energetic field and how to keep that clear and what that even feels like. Because if you don't know what your own energy feels like when you're carrying other people's energy, you're just gonna not even know because you don't even know who you are compared to them and other people in the world and that sort of thing. So clearing your energy is like the starting point to being able to move and shift into deeper healing and stuff, right? So yes, hey Corey, it sure is, yeah. So that aspect there. Now, so the other thing coming to mind, and this is where I'm going to do a bit of a clearing, so we've got us doing our own behavior. We've got us doing a behavior that we can feel is somebody else, right? And as I said, it might take a bit to just start to distinguish that. Especially when we live with other people, especially when we're close to other people, you know, we can do it more than not. And we don't even realize, in a sense. So that's why it's always good to have your own time and blah, blah, blah. So yourself, other people's behavior. And then the third thing is, and I'm going to use this word, but, okay, entities, demons, dark spirits, whatever you want to call them, right? Of course, there's different ones and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, they're attachments, they're entities, they're things that cling on. Now, the prime example is, so say, for example, an alcoholic, like a person, an alcoholic drinking at a bar, that's where they live, basically. And this is going to sound a bit full on, but just bear with me for a second. So the alcoholic leaves the bar to go home. This is not a true story, by the way. I'm just describing something here. Yeah. The alcoholic leaves the bar, walks out of the pub, goes to cross the street, gets hit by a bus, whatever, dies. Yeah? Pissed as fuck. That soul of that person is, this is it and it's not it, is still drunk, yeah? And that soul of that person, it's not that they're still drunk, but that reason that they drink, yeah, is still there in that soul. Like, that's still, just because a person dies, it doesn't mean that they're perfectly healed and everything's magic and they're amazing angel when they cross over the other side. Like, their personality, their consciousness level, everything is still the same. Like, they are still the same person, yeah? So when that alcoholic, say, dies and that soul is then still, like, they don't cross over, go to the light and go and do their work or whatever. That soul is usually found in a bar and trying to still get a drink, trying to still get a fix of that feeling that they left of. Do you know what I mean? And so that's why at bars and pubs and festivals and nightclubs and anywhere where there's drinking and partying, doesn't have to be out, could be at home, not only can there be entities or demons and stuff hanging around, there can be souls that have passed over and they're still wanting their fix, right? I have no idea why I'm talking about this today, but obviously I need to talk about it. I don't think I've shared this publicly, really, this deep of this anyway. That soul is hanging around the bar, the pub, whatever. Because when people go to, oh my goodness, my hair, I should have done my hair more. Okay. This is like real and raw. When people go and they go and have drinks and they go to festivals and they get off their head and they, you know, do all of that, and this is what I always say, the best form of protection is being grounded in your body. People usually drink, take drugs, whatever addiction, doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be drugs, alcohol, could be any addiction, could be sex, could be whatever, right? The addiction, yeah, is a form of connection, but it also makes us disassociate from our body. Like, we kind of leave our body when we're on drugs. It's like, we're airy-fairy, it's amazing. We like lose our inhibitions, right? And what happens is that all our feelings and stuff move away from our aura, and we're kind of like and some drugs actually separate the sheaths of our aura, and that's a complete friggin' open platter for anyone in the spirit world to just make themselves at home. So when you've had a big night out, or you've been in an environment that does have a lot of addictions around the place, doesn't matter what form or one, this is where souls that, say, for example, that example I gave that got hit by the bus, that's where they hang around. Because as soon as that as soon as that person takes their drugs or whatever it is and they leave their body, that soul's like, oh, sweet. And that's why when we're on it and we can't stay going and we just keep going, so amazing, because it's actually not us. Might be part us, but a big part can be not. And that's why sometimes alcoholics or the drug addict or whoever can't actually stop because they're actually also not themselves. Now, there's so many layers to somebody not being themselves. You know what I mean? And it can start from childhood trauma. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I could talk about that for years. Yeah, all the ways that a person is not themselves. Like, that's massive. Yeah. And it's why it's really important to, especially when people say they're alone or they feel alone or isolated or the only way out is to leave, that sort of thing. They're so disconnected from themselves. They don't even know who themselves are anymore. And that's most of the problem of society. That people don't know who they are. They're like, what do you want? They're like, I don't know. You choose. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like a really common thing. It's a really common factor. And that's why when we're working with people and they feel like that, it's like looking at all those aspects of what's actually hanging around them, what's actually sitting on them. Yeah. Hey Shane, so Cassie says it's always opposite for me completely. One drink or smoke and I'm more open, grounded and connected. Yeah, everything comes across with clarity. Why is that? Yeah, so I've got a live stream, YouTube that I did specifically on what marijuana and other drugs do to the sheaths and stuff of your aura. So you know how in our aura we've got these different layers and every drug affects those sheaths of the layer separately. Differently, like every drug does a different sort of thing, but at the core of it, all of them are loosening up our aura. And this is why, so you know how like we've been out drinking whatever, or we've had whatever drugs or whatever, and we feel good in those moments, right? And then we kind of wake up the next day and we're like, oh, reality, right? What that is we actually are feeling all the feelings. Yeah. Our aura has, the astral body, which is where all our feelings and traumas are stored. Like, that's what the bricks are that weigh us down. You know how I always talk about the bricks, right? And so these bricks in our aura, when we are looking at, like when we take drugs or we have a drink or like whatever it is that changes our consciousness, yeah? Whatever addiction that changes our consciousness, those feelings that are like here and we're like, it's just reality's crap or whatever. And then we have that thing, all of a sudden, like these loosen up. Like they move away from our body. That's why we're like, oh, it feels better. It feels like a relief because they're away further from us. But then when the drugs or whatever wear off, that's when it's like comes back in. Your aura comes back in, including clogged with whoever's stuff has been around you at the same time, right? So now it's not to say, like don't ever drink alcohol or something. I mean, I rarely drink, but when I do have a drink, my main thing is that I stay conscious. Like, I want to stay consciously connected to my body. Like, that's the thing. Like, I will, and I've never taken drugs or anything where I don't remember anything that happens. Like, that has never happened to me. Like, maybe that's my control freak side. I don't know. But just because I also have I stopped taking drugs after I, learned all this stuff. But even when I have a drink, there's no way I'd get blind drunk, or not know consciously what I'm doing, right? So for whatever reason, I needed to come on and talk about this. And it just seems like, that it's been very common that, in every client conversation or every conversation, it's like, you're not feeling, it's not you. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you're feeling other people. So when you are, doing a behavior that is not you and that you feel worse, that you're like, oh, and you can't stop, like, the thing to do is ask yourself, like, who am I feeling? Like, who have I just interacted with? What have I just been thinking about? And what was the trigger that made me do that thing? right? Because sometimes, you know, and this is where there's like 3 different aspects, or there's 4 ultimately, but it's like, you know, yourself and your own behavior, feeling somebody else's behavior, and then, you know, is it a other side behavior, like the other spirit world behavior, right? Whether it's a demon, darkness, entity, a soul that hasn't crossed over properly yet, like whatever, it's the spirit world, right? They're the 3 things to check in with, right? Because then the other thing about the behavior, it's kind of like, what was the trigger that made me do that? What made me do that behavior? Because if it's our own kind of stuff, like, it could be that we got some bad news about something. Now, again, you know, is that bad news creating something in our life that we're like, I don't know what to fix or whatever, so we go to our comfort thing, right? Our thing or whatever. Or is it that person's thing that we've taken on that we're like, oh, like these feelings we don't really know how to process, or, you know, so we're just kind of doing the behavior to numb it. Do you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, it all comes back to feelings. There is feelings underneath every behavior, and when you can tap into the feeling, what am I feeling, right? And then what do I need? They're 2 very key questions that will help to shift anything. Yeah. So Cassie says, same, if I have a drink, I get that fuzzy feeling, yet never been one to act out or lose myself. Yes, definitely. Makes so much sense. Yes. Yeah, okay. All right, so for some reason, I needed to talk to you about that. Now, I'm actually going to do this, it's just not like a full global live healing, but I'm going to do like a bit of a clearing, a live clearing. I'm going to jump on another live stream though, so it's separate to this. So I'm going to jump off, and then I'm going to jump back on live stream on my page now, just exactly where I am here now. You might have to refresh the screen, like we'll quit out of your app and come back in. I'll wait a few minutes before I get properly started, but I just feel like I need to do I don't know, pretty much just what I've been doing with my clients a little bit, because I'm just like, there's a need for this, and there's a lot of people that have been feeling a bit off, or a bit, I don't know, just not themselves, or it feels like there's a lot of rising, but as we all know, when we all rise and we up level, and I feel like collectively we have, like when we look at, I was going to say this time last year, when we look at November, December last year, and you know how I said like that 9 to 10 months, we're really stepping into that point where Atlantis rose, like Christmas time, and now it's like 9, 10 months when we birth a new reality. Grim Reaper and Witch and all that darkness was really heavy around Christmas last year, and I feel like now it's almost like another wave of it, but the entities and the demons that I've been seeing on people and clearing and shifting, they're like hanging to go. They're like, see me so you can free me, see me so you can free me. Like, that's like, you know what I mean? Like, people think they're bad and stuff, and it's like, we don't want to hang out with them, but at the same time, they're there to be set free back to the light. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, they're doing the hardest job. Yeah, they're doing the hardest job of, like, they chose to come down and be the darkness to wake us up. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's a pretty big, like, humbles me. Yeah. So I'm going to jump off and jump back on in a minute and do this global live healing, distance healing thing. The replays for the Build the Life of Your Dreams, the foundational structures for building online courses, is still available. The link is in the comments here and also in the title of this live stream. So send me a message if you've got any questions about that. If you want to be able to get up and do and talk about this sort of thing whenever you want, this is like my passion and my purpose, and to be able to bring it to you at this level, doing what I feel like doing, and just had a chill out day, and I'm like, oh, all of a sudden get the wave to come on live stream and like, let's do a healing. I'm like, okay. So if you want to be able to share your passion and your dream and help people in the world, and you will know and you will feel that call in your bones, this is the foundational structures to be able to even do that, right? To release yourself from mainstream work and to be able to do what you want to do when you want to do it and build the life of your dreams, you do need the foundational structures to be able to do that. So with the 4-day free mini course that Colleen has been holding. You can still catch the replays for that, so the link is there. And I'm going to jump off this live stream. Remember, if you're watching on YouTube, you can subscribe and like this video. And if you think this if you think this can help somebody, please share it with them as well. And I shall be back in a moment. Let's do this.